drop. Happy was a feeling she wasn't familiar with. Good things just didn't happen to her. So why would she trust it? Her friends told her she was silly for thinking the worst.
"Just enjoy life," they'd said. "You deserve this."
Did she, though? They didn't know about her darkest secret. They didn't know about Lindy. Once on her feet, the crowd around her dispersed, including the elderly man. Seeing the time, Charlie pulled out her cell phone and dialed the emergency-only number she'd kept while hoping she would never have to use it. When voicemail picked up, she said,
"I just saw a dead woman standing across the street from my apartment. I'm not drunk or crazy, but I'm scared because it was her. It was Lindy Parker."
Her voice broke, her eyes filling with hot tears. Fingers trembling, she disconnected, took a couple of breaths, and tried to regain control of herself. This wasn't like her. She was no longer a victim. She was strong, determined, capable. But even as she thought it, she recalled the feel of Lindy's ice blue eyes meeting hers. Lindy had always been able to make her doubt herself. Even dead. She shivered. Still shaking, she called her boss. She was planning to tell him she was sick and wouldn't be into the design company where she worked. But by the time Greg Schaefer came on the line, she'd calmed down and changed her mind. She couldn't think of anything worse than spending the day locked in her apartment, alone, staring out the window at the opposite street corner, expecting the woman to reappear.
"Charlie,"
Greg asked,
"is something wrong?" "I had an accident," she told him, buoyed by the concern in his voice and knowing that the one place she would be safe was work. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine."
A lie.
"I'm just running a little late."
Amanda Barnes groaned to herself as she watched Greg hang up his phone.
"Let me guess. That was Charlie, and she's going to be late again."
She couldn't help giving him an impatient look. He cut Charlie way too much slack. It made him look weak as a boss, even worse as a fiancé.
"What was her excuse this time? Christmas shopping?"
"I don't want to argue, Mandy," he said with a sigh.
"Charlie said she had an accident. She's on her way."
She hated when he called her Mandy with that tone of voice. It made her teeth ache. She flipped her blonde hair back and stretched out her long legs, her best assets. Both had reeled Greg in, she thought with a smile. She was also a damn good office manager. Altogether, they'd resulted in a huge diamond on her finger.
"Charlie is my most creative designer,"
Greg was saying. Amanda rolled her eyes. It wasn't like she hadn't heard this before.
"She's a flake, and you know it. Can I assume you got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning?" "You would know since it was your bed," she said, lowering her voice as she felt her expression soften. She glanced at the ring he'd put on her finger recently. He told her that he'd been planning to wait until Christmas, but he'd disappointed her on her birthday in October when he'd given her a small box with silver earrings inside. Obviously, he'd known then that he'd better take the next step, and soon, or risk losing her. A few weeks ago, he'd popped the question, and of course she'd said yes. "Cut Charlie some slack," he said now. "She's just not a morning person. She's an artist. Her creativity kicks in later in the day. I'm sure she—"
Just then the young woman in question arrived. Through the glass wall of his office, they watched Charlie burst through the outer office door in a flurry of flapping winter coat and scarf. She always swept in, often in a rush, always exuberant and usually running late. This morning appeared no different, except for the fact that she was later than normal. As Charlie shrugged out of her coat and scarf, Amanda saw that she wore a bright-colored sweater that hid her small frame mid-thigh with dark leggings. Her long, curly, dark chestnut hair was pulled back in a high ponytail. A few errant locks had come loose and now framed her face, making her look much younger than her 29 years. Amanda didn't have to look at Greg to know that he was smiling. Had either of them ever been that young, and so wonderfully naive and full of life? Charlie radiated an innocence and a kind of energy that she...